Sergeant Marcus Hale stumbled forward, the burning crimson sands of Archon 4 crunching beneath his combat boots. His helmet's cracked HUD flickered erratically, offering glimpses of data. Oxygen at 32%, power cells dangerously low. Scattered, around him lay bodies of allies and enemies alike, a grim tapestry of a savage battle now ended in silence. "Damn mess," Marcus muttered, gripping his plasma rifle tighter, eyes scanning the endless red dunes punctuated by shattered machinery and drifting smoke. His squad was gone. The comm chatter had long faded to silence, leaving him alone on a hostile planet, separated from friendly lines by miles of enemy-controlled wasteland. Marcus grimly checked his rifle's charge indicator, 27%. Enough, he thought bitterly too. Maybe take out a couple more enemy scouts before he joined his comrades. A faint sound shattered the eerie quiet, a soft, anguished groan. Marcus snapped his rifle up instantly, adrenaline surging through his veins. Carefully stepping over a fallen enemy hovercraft, he cautiously advanced, alert for traps. Behind the wreckage, he found her. A female alien warrior lay sprawled in the sand, her skin a mesmerizing shade of cerulean blue, shimmering even through smears of dark blood and dirt. Her armor, sleek and intricately designed to accentuate her toned, curving form, was scorched and torn. But Marcus's eyes instantly fell to her wounds. Her legs were mangled below the knees, cauterized by plasma fire. A brutal battlefield. Amputation. Stars above, he whispered involuntarily. The alien woman stirred, silver hair cascading around her face like liquid metal. Her eyes snapped open, fierce violet orbs that pierced Marcus with a mixture of defiance and pain. Immediately, she lunged for a weapon no longer there, a hiss escaping her lips as agony seized her broken body. "Easy," Marcus said quickly, lowering his rifle slightly but remaining alert. "I'm not here to finish you off." She glared at him, her lips pulling back into a snarl, revealing pointed teeth. "Then leave me, human," she spat in heavily accented, galactic common, her voice melodic yet filled with contempt. "Your pity is worthless." Marcus tilted his head, studying her closely. The rational part of him urged caution. Leave her behind, follow protocol, find safety. Yet something deeper, more instinctual, compelled him to stay. "What's your name?" Marcus asked, ignoring her hostility. She stared at him incredulously. "Are you insane?" "Quite possibly," Marcus admitted with a dry smile. "But humor me. I'm Marcus Hale. If I'm gonna risk my life dragging you out of here, the least I can have is your name." She hesitated, suspicion warring with exhaustion on her striking features. "I am Lyris Vicari, Blade Mistress of the Zephyran Legion." She finally replied, her voice weary. "And there is no rescue for me. My people have abandoned the field." Marcus shrugged off his pack, pulling out medical supplies. "Good thing I'm not one of your people then," he remarked, "because humans aren't in the habit of leaving someone behind." "Fool," Lyris hissed, though her fierce violet eyes tracked his every movement as he approached cautiously. "Your compassion will be your end." "Maybe," Marcus conceded as he began administering nanite-infused healing gel to her injuries, his touch surprisingly gentle. "But not today." She grimaced at his touch but made no move to stop him, pride and curiosity mingling in her expression. "Why risk so much? We're enemies." Marcus paused briefly, meeting her penetrating gaze. "Enemies or not, nobody deserves to be left like this," he said quietly, resuming his work. "Not even a stubborn Zephyran." As Marcus stabilized her wounds, a strange feeling settled over him. A sense that this impulsive act, this refusal to abandon her, would alter his life forever. What he couldn't know was just how profoundly. "Hold tight, Blade Mistress," Marcus murmured, carefully lifting her into his arms. "This fight isn't over yet." Lyris stiffened briefly, clearly unused to vulnerability, before reluctantly leaning into his strength, the faintest sigh escaping her lips. "Indeed," she breathed, almost inaudibly, as Marcus began carrying her away from the battlefield. "It appears the fight has only just begun." Marcus moved swiftly through the burning sands, every step deliberate as the crimson sky darkened into bruised twilight. The injured alien woman, Rhea, pressed tightly against his chest, her breathing shallow but steady. He felt every heartbeat, fierce and strangely synchronized with his own. They reached a rocky formation just as the desert's chill settled over them. An ancient ruin, abandoned but structurally sound, stood half-buried ahead, perfect shelter. He set her down gently. Her elegant features tightened in pain. Her violet eyes fluttered open, luminous despite exhaustion. "Why? Are you doing this, human?" She whispered sharply, suspicion still tinting her voice, though softer now. "Because," Marcus said, unpacking the compact medical kit from his gear, "where I come from, we don't leave anyone behind." Her gaze narrowed, skeptical but intrigued. "Even enemies?" Marcus paused, meeting her eyes directly. "You're not my enemy. At least not here. Not now." She huffed but didn't argue. Marcus quickly assessed her wounds. Her suit, sleek obsidian-colored armor woven from unknown materials, was badly damaged. Both legs severed below the knees, wounds cauterized by heat but still dangerously raw. He injected medical nanites near the wounds, watching carefully as the microscopic machines began their swift repair. Rhea winced slightly at the sting but said nothing. "I've stopped the bleeding," Marcus assured gently. "It'll still hurt, but you're safe for now." "Safe?" she echoed with irony. Safety was lost long before this battlefield. "Fair enough," he admitted, setting aside the spent injector. "What's your name?" She hesitated, pride flickering in her, eyes before answering softly. "Rhea Kalin, Blade Commander of the Karasi Elite Guard." "Blade Commander?" He arched a brow, half amused, half impressed. "I'm honored. And you?" She ignored the subtle teasing, eyes scanning his rugged face with newfound curiosity. "What do your warriors call you?" "Marcus Kane," he replied. But just Marcus is fine. She studied him silently for a moment, before nodding once, approval flashing, briefly in her gaze. "Marcus it is." He smiled faintly and began assembling the portable shelter module from his pack. "You should rest. Tomorrow we'll move." "Move where?" she asked sharply. "The battlefront shifted. My people have withdrawn. Yours too. We're alone, human." "We'll find a way," Marcus assured, confidence resonating in his voice. "Always do." She studied him, then smiled faintly. "Your optimism borders on foolishness." "Well," he smirked playfully, "foolish has kept me alive so far." She looked away, a faint blush coloring her pale, luminous skin. Marcus felt a sudden pang of warmth in his chest, startlingly strong and unexpected. "Rest," he repeated softly, more gently this time. "I'll keep watch." She hesitated, clearly unused to being protected. "Very well," she murmured reluctantly, eyelids heavy. "But wake me if anything approaches. I still have a blade or two hidden." "I bet you do." He chuckled quietly, setting himself at the shelter's entrance, rifle ready. "Sleep well, Commander Rhea." She closed her eyes, murmuring softly before drifting off. Just Rhea is fine. Marcus watched her for a lingering moment, fierce, proud, yet oddly vulnerable in sleep, a dangerous combination. He turned back to the endless desert, his mind strangely focused, aware suddenly, acutely, that saving her life might have changed his own forever. He just wasn't sure how yet. The night settled thick and quiet over the ruin. Desert winds whispered through broken vents and fractured walls, but inside, the dim blue glow of Marcus's portable heater cast soft shadows across the stone floor. Rhea stirred on the blanket, wincing slightly as she adjusted her weight. Marcus, ever alert, turned from his post. "Pain spiking?" "No," she murmured. "Just stiffness. The nanites are doing their job." Her voice was calmer now, still proud but no longer sharp-edged with suspicion. Something had shifted between them. The silence that followed wasn't awkward. It was heavy with unspoken questions neither quite knew how to voice. "You've been watching me?" she said suddenly, not looking at him. Marcus didn't deny it. Making sure you're stable. A pause, then almost teasing. I didn't realize human medical protocol involves staring. He gave a small laugh. It's not. But I guess I'm still trying to figure you out. Rhea turned her head slowly to meet his gaze. In the low light, her violet eyes glowed faintly like stars in shadow. And what have you figured out so far? Marcus leaned back against the wall, arms crossed over his chest. You're terrifying, witty, stubborn as hell, and kind of beautiful. Silence. Even the wind outside seemed to still. Rhea blinked slowly, her expression unreadable. Then, to his surprise, she let out the barest chuckle. Flattery, Marcus Kane? From a soldier to a broken enemy? You're not broken. His voice was low. Sure. You're breathing. You're fighting. That's more than most. She studied him for a long moment, the tension between them thickening. Then her voice dropped into something softer. In my culture, weakness is shame. Wounds, even survivable ones, end careers. Status, purpose. That's a dumb rule, Marcus replied bluntly. To his surprise, she didn't argue. Instead, she whispered, It is. A long silence stretched again before she added more quietly, But you stayed. You didn't walk away like the others. Marcus looked at her, and this time he didn't look away. I didn't save you because of what you were. I stayed because of who you are. Rhea's throat moved in a silent swallow. Something cracked behind her eyes. Something private, something old. Thank you, she said softly. Marcus just nodded. The space between them suddenly charged. And then, boom. The ground trembled beneath them, the distant sound of shifting, rock rumbling through the ruin like thunder. Marcus was on his feet in an instant. That's not just the wind. Rhea struggled to sit upright, her voice already back in command mode. The outer wall. It's unstable. You said this place was ancient? Yeah, pre-war research station, probably dormant for years. Another tremor hit, stronger this time. A spray of dust rained down from the ceiling, followed by a deep cracking noise that made Marcus's skin crawl. All right, he growled, grabbing his gear. We're moving. Now. I can't walk, Rhea hissed. I know. He was already at her side, scooping her into his arms again. She didn't resist this time. Instead, she reached up, her fingers curling lightly into his armor. You're going to get sick of carrying me. Not yet, Marcus said, flashing her a quick grin. You're lighter than most of my regrets. Her laugh, dry and breathless, broke the tension for just a heartbeat. They moved deeper into the ruin, navigating narrow passages lit only by Marcus's suit lamps. The architecture turned more complex, curved metal walls, flickering hollow displays, abandoned terminals. But it was intact. No collapse here. Eventually, they found a reinforced inner chamber. A sealed med lab, long abandoned but intact. Marcus kicked in the low-power systems, and soft white lights blinked to life overhead. Rhea's eyes widened as she took it in. Glass diagnostic pods, surgical beds, banks of med tech far beyond anything field troops carried. This is old tech, she whispered, but powerful. Exactly what we need, Marcus said. He gently placed her on one of the beds, its frame adjusting automatically to her form. As she settled, she looked up at him. Her voice was almost a whisper. Why are you still doing this? Marcus didn't pretend not to understand. He looked at her for a long moment, then said simply, Because I think saving you might be the first right thing I've done in this entire war. Her eyes widened slightly. Then she looked away, but not before he saw it. The smallest trace of vulnerability and trust. The old med lab hummed faintly, power pulsing through forgotten circuits like the breath of something long asleep, and now stirring. Marcus moved around the room, activating what systems he could. His suit had synced with the ancient interface. Diagnostics came online, lights brightened overhead. The air filtration kicked in with a low hum, cycling out the stale air. On the biobed, Rhea rested against a sloped cushion, eyes half-lidded but alert. Her skin looked less pale now, still green-tinted and marked with faint glowing veins, but less ghostly. "You've done this before," she murmured, watching Marcus reprogram a medical drone with quick, precise movements. "Combat medic training," he said, glancing over his shoulder, "and too much time keeping squad mates alive who didn't deserve to die." Rhea tilted her head slightly. "And me? Do I deserve it?" Marcus paused. He looked at her then, really looked at her. "No one deserves to be left behind," he said finally. "But you've got more fight in you than most I've ever known." Rhea's lips curved, almost a smile. "Almost. Careful, Marcus Kane. If you keep saying things like that, I may start liking you." "Too late," he muttered under his breath. She heard him. Her eyes softened. "You're not like the others." He smirked. "You've mentioned that." "No," she said, her tone quieter now. "I mean it. You're honest, bold, foolish. But there's something else in you, something rare." Marcus didn't respond right away. Instead, he walked over and placed a small device near her thigh. "This'll numb the pain. Nanites can't do it all." As he leaned in to activate it, she reached up softly, fingertips grazing his jaw. His breath caught. "I thought humans were cold, calculated, greedy." "You're not wrong," he said. "A lot of them are. But not you?" He looked into her eyes, voice dropping. "I don't know what I am anymore. But ever since I found you in that sand, I haven't stopped feeling like I finally did, something that mattered." Rhea didn't speak. Her hand remained on his face, thumb brushing his cheekbone. "I could have killed you," she said softly. "When I first woke, I tried." "I know," Marcus said, his lips quirking. "Didn't exactly scream thank you." She chuckled lightly, the sound husky. "You're impossible. And yet," he teased. "And yet," she echoed. Their gazes held, tense, warm, magnetic, and then her hand slid down, fingers brushing the base of his neck. His pulse jumped. "I should rest," she said suddenly, breaking the spell with a knowing glint in her eye. "You should," Marcus agreed, voice a little rough. He turned back to the terminal and missed the faint smile that ghosted across her lips. Hours passed. Marcus dozed near the console, one hand on his rifle, the other curled under his head. But something, some whisper of movement, woke him. He turned. Rhea was standing, well, almost. Supported by the medical railings, her severed legs had been fitted with temporary prosthetics, rough, uncalibrated, but enough for balance. Her armor hung open at the waist where medwork had been done, revealing toned, scar-lined skin and the shimmer of her core markings, luminescent traces that pulsed faintly across her side. "You should be resting," Marcus said, rising quickly. She gave a small smile. "I was, but I needed to see if I could still stand." "You'll do more than stand once we find proper cybernetics," he said, stepping close, hands out just in case she wobbled. She didn't. "I hate being helpless," she admitted. "You're not," Marcus said firmly. "You're recovering. That's different." Rhea stared at him. "You believe in me more than I do," he shrugged. "Somebody has to." She reached out, steadying herself with a hand on his shoulder. The closeness between them shifted, charged, intimate. Her voice dropped, almost a whisper. "You've done more for me in 2 days than my own command ever did in years. I don't need a reason to help someone who deserves to live," he said. "But why care? Why risk so much? For me?" Marcus swallowed. His voice came out low, raw. "Because, I think, I was meant to find you." The silence between them crackled, and then Rhea leaned in, not quite a kiss, but her forehead rested against his. "You're dangerous, Marcus Kane," she whispered. "Because I think I believe you." His breath trembled against her skin. "Good," but the moment shattered. An alarm beeped from the terminal. Movement, Marcus muttered, instantly all soldier again. He checked the scanner. 2 life signs. Outside the ruin. Not human. Rhea pulled back, eyes sharp now. Karasi scouts. They must have followed the emergency flare. You up for this? She gave him a fierce smile. With you? Always. Marcus chambered around in his rifle. Then let's show them what a dying human and a broken Karasi can do. The wind outside howled, dust swirling in the crimson desert as dusk deepened into a murky alien night. Marcus crouched near the edge of the crumbling entrance, rifle aimed through a narrow breach in the metal wall. His HUD highlighted 2 fast-moving signatures, closing in. Still 2, he said, voice steady. Moving like recon scouts. Could be a patrol or an extraction team. Behind him, Rhea was reattaching the upper plates of her combat suit over her chest. Her movements were swift but careful, muscle memory taking over despite her injuries. Karasi scouts won't wait for confirmation, she muttered, sliding into a crouch beside him. They shoot first, then ask if you were important later. I'm not exactly expecting a welcome basket either. Her newly attached support prosthetics clicked softly as she shifted. I can draw them. They'll expect me to be weak. You're not a decoy, Marcus said immediately. We're in this together. That made her pause. Then she nodded once. Then we ambushed them. Together. The plan was quick, brutal, effective. Marcus activated a flare beacon from the ruined medical console, just enough heat and power to draw attention. Then he and Rhea took flanking positions within the ruin's collapsed eastern hallway, hidden behind crumbling bulkheads and torn steel. Footsteps. Soft, precise. Karasi boots. 2 scouts entered, weapons raised, helmets glinting in the soft light. Marcus stayed completely still, counting seconds under his breath. 3, 2, 1. Rhea struck first. She emerged from the shadows like a ghost, her damaged armor humming, launching a low, sweeping strike with the curved hilt of a field-salvaged weapon. It cracked hard against one scout's side, slamming him into a wall. The second turned, rifle rising, but Marcus was already there, tackling him from behind, slamming his elbow into the Karasi's throat. The alien choked, twisted, but Marcus was stronger. He jammed the butt of his rifle into the scout's jaw with a crunch. Both enemies were down, alive but groaning. Rhea stared at him, chest rising and falling. Not bad. For a human, she said between breaths. You're not so bad yourself? For someone missing both legs. Rhea smirked. And here I thought you liked me for my personality. They dragged the unconscious scouts into a darkened side chamber. Marcus stripped their gear, checking for trackers, comms, supplies. Rhea checked for loyalty tattoos, none. Just soldiers, not high command. They'll wake up within the hour, she said. We have to move before they call for reinforcements. Agreed. But where? She stepped close to one of the fallen scouts and ripped a crystal chip from his neck port. Their nav beacons run on quantum sync. I can reroute the signal, feed false location data. Marcus blinked. You just hacked a neural sync crystal in 5 seconds. I was elite guard, she said simply. Not just a pretty face. I never said you were just a pretty face, he muttered, but not low enough. She heard him. She turned, smirked, stepped closer. You didn't deny it either. Their faces were close now, closer than before, their breathing uneven. Something magnetic crackled between them. Chemistry ignited by survival, by trust, by shared fire. But before either could speak, the ground shuddered. Boom. Then a high-pitched whine echoed across the desert. That's no patrol, Marcus said, snapping, his visor back down. Dropship inbound, big one. Rhea cursed in Karasi. They're coming for a sweep. How many do you think? At least a platoon. Marcus ran a hand through his hair. That's suicide. Unless, she said slowly, tapping the stolen beacon chip against her palm. We lead them somewhere else. He looked at her. You have a plan? I have an idea, she replied. It's stupid, risky, and possibly fatal. I'm listening. We activate the beacon. but leave it broadcasting in one direction while we head the opposite. North Ridge. There's an old satellite station buried beneath the dunes. My people used it decades ago during the first incursions. It may still be intact. How far? 5 clicks. You can't walk 5 kilometers on those stubs. I wasn't planning to walk, she said. Then she looked up at him, something shifting behind her fierce eyes. I was hoping you'd carry me, Marcus blinked. Again? Rhea smirked, stepping right up to him, eyes glinting with something warm, something dangerous. Unless you'd prefer I hold on tightly while you run. He exhaled, half laughing. You really know how to motivate a guy. You haven't seen anything yet, she whispered. He knelt. She climbed onto his back, arms tight around his chest, face near his ear. Ready? He asked. Always. And with that, Marcus took off into the desert night, carrying the fiercest enemy he'd ever faced, and the only woman who'd ever made him feel more alive. The desert stretched endlessly beneath a sky full of burning stars. Marcus ran, not out of fear, but with purpose. Grit grinding in his teeth, lungs burning, boots thudding rhythmically across the sand. And on his back, arms wrapped tightly around his chest, was Rhea. She wasn't light, but she fit against him like she'd always belonged there. Every movement they made together felt natural now. Synced. Wordless. You're slowing, she teased, her voice low against his ear, breath warm. Getting tired already, soldier? You weigh more than you look, he grunted. That's rude, she said with mock offense. And I thought humans were supposed to be strong. Strong enough to carry your royal ass across 5 clicks of hell, he shot back. She chuckled, quiet and real, then went silent. Moments later, she spoke again, this time softer. It's strange. What is? I haven't felt this alive since before the war. Marcus's chest tightened. He didn't respond, but his grip on her legs adjusted gently, reassuringly. They crested a dune. Ahead, half buried in the sand, stood the broken silhouette of the old satellite station. Its massive dish cracked and tilted, half swallowed by time. Rhea let out a slow breath. It's still here. Marcus set her down carefully on a flat section of the outer platform. She balanced herself on the broken edge of a bulkhead, prosthetic supports locking with a quiet click. You okay? He asked. She nodded, gaze scanning the structure. We'll need to enter through the side hatch. The main door's buried. Marcus climbed the slope with her beside him, one hand on her arm just in case. Inside, the station was dark, cold, but the tech was alien, Karasi design, sleek, elegant, and most importantly, powered. There, Rhea pointed toward a control hub. If I can access the command relay, I might be able to hijack a long-range beacon. Call for help? Not exactly, she said. Scramble patrols, leak false coordinates, make them think we're heading for the southern pass. Smart. I'm always smart, she replied, lips curving slightly. He watched her work for a while, fingers dancing over the alien interface, her brow furrowed in deep focus, silver-white strands of hair falling into her face. She looked radiant in the dim light, even in armor, maybe especially in armor. You know, he said quietly, for a Karasi warrior bred for discipline and honor, you flirt like a human. She froze, then slowly turned, one brow raised. And you, for a human soldier raised on protocol and orders, you look at me like I'm the only thing worth surviving for. Silence, electric. Then she said it, voice low. Am I? Marcus stepped toward her, slowly, deliberately, until there was barely a breath between them. You are, he said simply. She looked up at him, face unreadable for a beat. Then her expression softened, almost vulnerable. You shouldn't feel this, she whispered. You shouldn't want me. I'm not whole, not anymore. You're more than whole, Marcus replied, brushing her cheek with his fingers. You're fire, Rhea, fierce, alive. You make me feel like this war hasn't broken everything. A long moment. Then she leaned into his hand, eyes closing, letting herself breathe in his warmth. I should push you away, she whispered. But I don't want to. Then don't. She opened her eyes. They were brighter now, deep violet with flecks of starlight. Their lips met. It wasn't rushed. It wasn't desperate. It was earned. A kiss born from trust forged in blood and dust and long silent hours under alien skies. A kiss that hummed with tension, with aching restraint, with everything they'd tried not to say. When they finally pulled apart, her hands rested on his chest. His forehead touched hers. Still think this is a terrible idea? He asked quietly. Oh, absolutely, she murmured. But I've never wanted something more. Suddenly, a red light blinked. On the console behind her, Rhea turned fast, pressing a hand to the display. Her eyes narrowed. They found the decoy, she said. But they're not falling for it. They're rerouting to this sector. Marcus swore under his breath. How long? 30 minutes, maybe less. He slung his rifle. Then we gear up, fortify this place, and make a stand. She looked at him, not with fear, but with that same fire. We fight together. Always. And this time, when she reached for him, it wasn't about survival. It was about something far more dangerous. Hope. The satellite station was quiet. Too quiet. Marcus crouched beside the outer bulkhead, fingers adjusting a trip mine on the inner wall. Rhea stood across from him, calibrating a salvaged plasma rifle, the soft hum of alien energy pulsing in her hands. Their plan was simple. Lure the incoming squad inside, trap the choke points, hold them off, escape through the crawl shaft beneath the reactor housing. Simple, not easy. You armed the drone turrets? Marcus asked. Rhea nodded. Yes. They'll hold the east corridor, but they won't last more than 90 seconds under concentrated fire. That's 90 seconds more than we had before. She finished loading the last charge into her rifle and stepped over to him. I've fought beside warriors who trained their whole lives for combat. None of them ever made me feel that ready. Marcus looked up at her. That's because they weren't fighting for the same thing. And what's that? You. Rhea froze, not with uncertainty, but with depth, with the weight of something finally crashing through the wall she'd carried for years. I don't know what happens after this, she whispered. I don't know what kind of future exists between a Karasi blade and a human soldier. He stepped closer until his forehead touched hers. We survive first, Marcus said. Then we find out. She kissed him, harder this time, with urgency, not desperate, devoted. Then the station shook. The sensors blared. Movement. 6 life. Signs, rapid approach, armed. They're here, she said. Good, Marcus replied, gripping his weapon. I'm ready. Then let's make them remember the day they messed with a half-dead soldier and a broken Karasi. They moved like a single force. As the first wave entered the north corridor, the floor mine Marcus had planted erupted. 2 scouts, thrown against the wall in a hail of fire and light. Rhea was already moving, rifle raised, delivering precise, ruthless shots with her plasma weapon. Not to kill, but to disable. Marcus covered her flank, switching between burst fire and grenades. When one Karasi warrior tried to flank from the east, Rhea pivoted, leaped, on her new legs, landing with feline precision and slamming her rifle stock into his jaw. You were holding back, Marcus growled as she landed. Beside him, I'm adapting, she smirked. Fast. Another quake shook the facility. Sparks exploded from overhead panels. We've got 5 minutes before the station loses structural integrity, she shouted. Then let's make them regret showing up late to die. They fought their way through the corridors, every step, drawing closer to the final hatch. And then, a shadow blocked the exit, a tall figure in ornate Karasi war armor, voice dripping with venom. Rhea Kalin, the commander snarled. You disgrace your bloodline. You side with the enemy. You shame our house. Rhea didn't flinch. You abandoned me, she said. You left me to die. This man, this human, saved me, gave me strength, gave me something none of you ever did. The commander raised his rifle. Then you'll die with him. Before he could fire, Marcus stepped forward. No, he said. You'll die alone. He and Rhea moved as one. She slid low. He fired high, a shot to the leg, a blow to the shoulder, and then Rhea's blade, the very one taken from her downed scout, pierced the commander's chest plate. He fell to the ground, stunned but alive. Still don't believe in second chances? Rhea asked coldly. Marcus grabbed her hand, already, guiding her toward the maintenance shaft. You okay? She glanced at the fallen warrior. Now I am. They slipped into the shaft, alarms blaring behind them. As the satellite station collapsed behind them in a storm of dust and fire, Marcus and Rhea emerged into the dawn light, battered, bloodied, but alive. And this time, Rhea didn't wait. She pulled him into her arms, kissed him like she'd been holding back her whole life. Whatever comes next, she said, breathless. We face it together. Marcus pressed his forehead to hers. Together, he promised. Always. The sun crept higher over the desert, painting the wreckage of the satellite station in long golden shadows. Smoke curled lazily from the distant ruins, but Marcus and Rhea had made it out. They rested beneath the bones of a fractured comms tower, breathing in the silence like it was the first real breath either of them had taken in years. Marcus had pulled off his helmet. Sweat clung to his brow, but his eyes stayed locked on Rhea. She knelt beside him, adjusting the synthetic bandages around her torso with trembling hands. You should let me take a look, Marcus said, reaching for her side. I'm fine, she lied, and he gave her a look that said he knew better. Stubborn, he muttered. Her lips quirked. So are you. Guess we're a match. A moment passed, then she sighed, letting him peel back the armor to reveal a shallow plasma graze. He cleaned it with water from his canteen, careful not to speak. The silence between them said more than any words. Finally, she broke it. What now? She asked. Marcus didn't answer right away. He glanced up at the horizon. We're off every map. No comms. No extraction. The war will go on without us. And us? She pressed. He looked down at her, his voice low. You were never part of my mission, Rhea. But somehow, you've become my reason. She blinked, shaken more by that than any gunfire they'd faced. Then she whispered, I'm late. Marcus furrowed his brow. Late for what? Her hand moved to her stomach. She met his gaze. I don't need a scanner to know it. Our biologies are different, but not incompatible. I can feel it. I'm carrying life, Marcus. Yours and mine. Silence, raw, real, electric. His heart stopped, then thundered. You're sure? Rhea nodded slowly. Absolutely. The Karasi don't guess. We know. Marcus exhaled a shaky breath. Damn. I didn't plan for that. I didn't either, she whispered, but I don't regret it. He reached forward and took her hand. Then we survive. We find shelter. We find allies. We raise our child away from this madness. You think there's a place for that? I think we make one. Her eyes softened. You always believe in things no soldier should. I believe in you, he said. She leaned into him, resting her forehead against his. Then I'll believe too. They sat like that for a long time. Two broken warriors, on a dead planet, holding on to a flicker of something more powerful than war, hope. 6 months later, hidden settlement New Adara system. The settlement was small, no bigger than a village, but it thrived. Half human, half Karasi, off-grid, free. Marcus walked through the streets with a rifle slung over one shoulder and a datapad in his hand. Children ran past him, blended children with skin in every shade, hair like ink and snow, eyes like stars. Peace was fragile, but real. At the central structure, Rhea stood tall in a deep gray cloak, her new cybernetic legs flawless and silent as she addressed a group of off-world envoys. Marcus leaned against the doorframe, watching her, watching the fire in her voice as she spoke of unity, of rebuilding, of choice. And then he saw her hand shift, touching her stomach again. Their daughter would be born in weeks, a hybrid, a miracle, a symbol of what came after the war. When she finally caught his eye, she gave him a look that said everything, that they'd made it, that they had defied everything, and that the future was finally theirs to shape. Marcus crossed the room, placed a hand on her back and whispered, "Still think I'm reckless?" She smirked, leaning into him. "Reckless, impossible. And the best decision I ever made." He kissed her temple. And together, with fire behind them and life ahead, they walked into the new world they'd built, not as enemies, not even just as lovers, but as something stronger. As partners, as peacekeepers, as legends.